Hi, it's Pamela. In this tutorial, watch over my shoulder as I create a 1-minute video with Doodly.
Hey, and welcome to the official Doodly YouTube channel. If you enjoy our content, please click the like and subscribe button below. Now let's get straight to the video.
Over the last few weeks, we've created a series of tutorials on Doodly and its various features. Today, I thought it might be instructive to show you the process from start to finish. With that in mind, let's create a short video called Real Estate Walkthrough Tips for Sellers. We're going to pretend that I'm a real estate agent who wants to educate my clients on what they can do to ensure that the walkthrough goes great. So let's get started. We're going to click on Create New Video and we're going to give it a title. I'm going to make it a 1080p. And I'm going to choose the whiteboard style. I like that style just fine. Now, what am I going to do? Well, I started with an outline, which I have here in Word. Here's the outline I used as a basis for my script. I jotted down the key points that I want to make, which are, what is a walkthrough? What do you need to do to plan and schedule it? You want to make sure the home is clean and empty and in great condition. And you want to dispose of unwanted items and take out the trash. You want to thoroughly clean the home. A professional move-out cleaning service is highly recommended, and make repairs. So these are the key points I want to cover in my video, right? So I jotted them down just based on my knowledge. I need something a little more structured than that. So I took these key points and I wrote a very simple script because I am going to narrate it and I want to know what I'm going to say. So I used 2 columns here, one for the video. These are the items that I'm going to put for the visuals. And here is my audio. This is the narration that I'm going to use. It's very simple, right? So with that in mind, we need to go back into Doodly and get started. I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste all of the different narrations that I'm going to be doing, and I'm going to do them scene by scene. So I'm going to use the subtitle feature kind of as a cheat sheet. I've talked about this before, and now you can see it in action. So bear with me while I copy and paste everything, okay? Going into my first scene here, scene settings, and I'm going to copy the narration there. I'm going to add a new scene. I'm going to flip back to Word. And I'm going to copy my next text. Back in I go to scene settings and paste. Start my third scene, go back to Word and get my text for that third scene. Scene settings. And I'm just copying and pasting here. Now that I have the text in there, it's very helpful for doing the voiceover because then it can be like a teleprompter for me, okay? So I like that a lot. It's also helpful, say I'm working on this over a series of days. It's just nice to have everything in the software and I don't have to worry about pages and different files and opening Word and all of that stuff. I just open Doodly and everything's there. So I find it helpful. And I'm going to want to have a little something on each screen so that I can adjust the timing just for my voiceover. This is just real basic. It doesn't have to be anything fancy at this point. This is just working stuff, okay? Since we know that my first visual is going to be, what is a walkthrough? I'm just going to add some text that says that. I'm going to pick a font. Let's use this one. And, I'm probably going to need about 5 seconds for this first scene. So what I can do is I can just stretch it here and make it about 5 seconds long. I'll go back and fine tune it, but I think this will be good enough for my voiceover purposes. And then the second scene, we're going to be talking about, time. So just for now, I'm just going to put something here. Again, this is just a placeholder. I'm not worried about anything. And I'm going to give myself another 5 seconds to talk. I'm going to go through and do this on each one. And I'm going to want at least 5 seconds at the end. So I'm going to do that. And then I'll just stretch it out a little bit just to give myself some talking space. So now if I were to preview it, I have a very rough cut of my video. You'll see I have the subtitle text, which is my cheat sheet for my teleprompter. Okay, so I'm going to follow along and read that when I'm doing my voiceover. And again, we're not worried about these little placeholder graphics here, but it's just helpful to get an idea if I'm just taking a look at, okay, how's the timing going to be? So it's just helpful to have the little placeholders there. You can do that or not, it's up to you. Okay, so now that we have our very rough cut created, we can do the voiceover. And I highly recommend doing the voiceover first because it's so much easier to time your graphics to your voiceover than to try and time your voiceover to the graphics that you built and worked so hard to get them perfectly timed. You're gonna find you're gonna talk really fast or maybe slow it down, and it's just a pain. You want to be able to talk naturally at a natural pace and not have to worry about timing it with scene transitions and graphics, okay? So let's go ahead and do that. And like I said, I'm going to do them one at a time, so one scene at a time. I'm going to start and stop, and then that way I also have a little more flexibility with positioning my audio, and you'll see here as I go. So let's go to our very first scene. What is a walkthrough? So I'm going to go down here to this timeline that has the microphone. That's for my audio narration. And I'm going to click the plus sign. Then I have this bright red microphone. That's my record button. I'm going to go ahead and push that when I'm ready to talk. And how am I going to know what to say? Well, my little subtitle cheat sheet teleprompter is going to tell me exactly what to say. So let's do it. The final walkthrough is when buyers walk through the home to make sure it is in the agreed. Okay, whoa, yeah, I need a lot more time. So yeah, I need a lot more time on this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, give myself more time. I don't want to rush myself. So I'm going to do that on all of them. Again, I'm just dragging them out. And then I'm going to scroll back over. And I'm going to delete this first voiceover because obviously I don't want that. The final walkthrough is when buyers walk through the home to make sure it is in the agreed upon condition before closing the deal. And you'll notice I went ahead and stopped the recording. I like that fine. So I'm going to go to my next one. And since I know that this ends right there, you can adjust these down. So when that ends, and then also at the beginning, so you get rid of all that empty space in between. And then you can adjust your audio accordingly. I'll go through and fiddle with these in greater detail when the time comes. As the seller, allow plenty of time to delete. As the seller, allow plenty of time to ensure the home is completely empty, except for any fixtures or items that the buyer negotiated in the purchase agreement. It should also be thoroughly cleaned and in move-in condition. And that's fine. You see, I kind of ad-libbed a little because it was awkward talking in that parentheses type thing. So that's great. You can do that. I'm going to extend the scene a bit. We can help. Give us a call at 555-1212. And that's it. I just recorded the voiceover. And you'll notice by doing it in these sections, I can mess up on a section and not have to redo the entire voiceover from start to finish and have to worry about having it perfect from start to finish. I can just do it one sentence at a time if I want to. Likewise, since I did it in these sections, I don't have to edit it. I don't have to go into a third-party software tool and cut out all of my mess ups because I did kind of like a in-video editing by doing it one at a time, deleting the bad takes and keeping the good ones. At this point, the audio is pretty much ready to go. I will probably want to clean up some of these gaps and tighten it as we go, and we can certainly do that easily enough. So let's go ahead and start building the video, okay? Let's go to the first scene. What is a walkthrough? While I like this text, I like the font, you'll notice the question mark is cut off. So one thing I want to do is add a space after it. And that gives the question mark a little bit of breathing room. It's not getting cut off anymore. I probably want it pretty large. So let's adjust that. And then I want something to indicate that we're talking real estate here, right? So maybe a house. Let's go back to our script real quick and see, did I specify anything? No. This is very loose, so I can just be inspired by whatever inspires me at this point. So let's start searching house. Let's try this one. So that looks kind of nice. We might want a character that represents the agent. So we're pretending it's me, so I'm going to try and find a character that might represent me. So I want somebody in a business type outfit, and I'm going to want a female since I'm female. So we could do Agatha. She has long hair like I do. And we have several poses of her in a business suit, so that might be nice. So I have 3 different poses, and that should be fine for my uses. So let's start with her like this. She's holding a computer, and she looks nice. Let's flip her over. I am going to make this house larger. I debated. And what I'm going to do, instead of worrying about, this text getting lost, I'm going to go ahead and click the gear icon, and I'm going to turn the opacity on the house down quite a bit. Let's go down to 60%. Then that way I get the whole, it's a house for sale type thing, but it's not the most prominent feature. And my words come through quite nicely. And then I have my person, and I think that's starting to look okay. I'm gonna go back to house, and I think I might choose a different one. I'm not really liking that one so much. So I'm just gonna replace it by dragging it over and saying replace. And this is a little nicer with the key, because it indicates the buyer's going to be getting the keys to the house and walking through it, right? So I think that'll be nice. Now maybe we should have some clients in here, so let's have some buyers. And let's have them be casual, because buyers oftentimes don't dress up in suits when they're buying a house, right? So let's have a young home buyer. Let's get rid of Agatha. And then you're just going to scroll until you find a character that you like that represents what you're looking for. I like Baco. We have him pointing. Let's flip him over. Now, keep in mind, the style of his drawing is a little different than the style of Agatha here. So I'm not sure that I actually want Baco after all. I'm going to save Bradley. He's going to be my handyman, because there are quite a few with him doing handyman things. So I'm not going to use him just yet. Camila might be a nice buyer. She kind of matches the style of Agatha. Although she's also cleaning, I might use her for my cleaning crew. So I'm going to keep looking. So I'm going to keep Camila and Brad in mind for my working people. All right, Domino. Let's use him for my buyer. He's the same style as Agatha, and he's in casual wear, so I think that will be great. Now, we want this scene to fit in this amount of time here, right? So this is my first voiceover, and it's about 8 seconds long. Right now, as I added all of these, it's changed the duration. And obviously, I don't want my what is a walkthrough to be 6.8 seconds long. You know, I want it to be maybe 2 seconds long. So let's go ahead and fiddle with these things. 2 seconds for my text, maybe 1 second for my keys, and then maybe 2 each for my people. And that's actually pretty close. I do want to have a little bit of time when the last one draws before the scene transition. So I'm going to go to scene settings, and I'm going to add 2 seconds to the ending. And that does change my timing a touch. I can move that. Now see how I can fiddle with these audios a little bit, and it's kind of nice. This might actually work timing wise. Let's take a quick preview of the first scene and see. Final walkthrough is when buyers walk through the home to make sure it is in the agreed upon condition before closing the deal. Okay, so looks like I got a little too aggressive on my cutting because I cut off the word the. So this should be fine. And I really want it to start a little sooner. So let's tighten this up just a tad. Let's make these characters 1.75. You can go in and type the numbers. No, I guess 1.5 is my choice here. So now let's take a listen here. The final walkthrough is when buyers walk through the home to make sure it is in the agreed upon condition before closing the deal. And that's perfectly fine. So let's move on to our next scene. Time. Okay, let's take a peek at our script. House and purchase agreement. So we want a house and we want a purchase agreement. Okay, so we can get rid of our placeholder here. And we want to find a house yet again. Let's use this ranch house. If you want some trees in the background, you can certainly do that. Trees. Let's try just tree. There we go. And then purchase agreement. What are we going to do for a purchase agreement? Well, let's see if we have any documents. Right here, document. I think that will be just fine. And what we can do, so that's going to come in, and then we're going to put some text on here. I'm going to type in purchase agreement. And that looks fine. Now, I want to select these two at the same time. So I'm going to use my control button and select click at the same time. And now I can resize them together as well as rotate them. So, let's have this come in kind of like a rotation here. And then maybe we have a camera movement that zooms in on it. Maybe. We'll see. Before we do that, let's play with the audio, okay? So I want to, of course, move it down towards the beginning of the scene. And I see that I need a little extra time. Well, I do want that, 2 seconds or so after that final drawing. So that's going to help right away. So I'm going to type in my 2 seconds. And let's just take a quick look and see if the timing appeals to us. It might not. We won't know until we preview it. So I'm going to right click and click preview. As a seller, allow plenty of time to ensure the home is completely empty, except for any fixtures or items that the buyer negotiated in the purchase agreement. It should also be thoroughly cleaned and in move-in condition. Okay, so we're close there. Now, I don't know if my words got cut off at the beginning because it's just a preview, or was I too aggressive here on my cutting. So I'm just going to give it a little more space, and I think that'll be just fine. I liked the timing just fine, though I would kind of like the purchase agreement to come on as I say purchase agreement. So I need to shorten something here. And the tree is by far the least important part of the scene. So I'm going to turn that to 2 seconds. And then I'm going to add some time at the end here. Change that to 3 seconds. And I'm going to listen to it and see, did I get closer to the purchase agreement when my words come on and that's coming on at the same time. So again, I'm going to preview the scene. As a seller, allow plenty of time to ensure the home is completely empty, except for any fixtures or items that the buyer negotiated in the purchase agreement. Perfect. It should also be thoroughly cleaned and in move-in condition. So that's great. We can move on to our next scene. Repairs. Okay, I'm going to stretch this out for the time being. And I'm going to move my audio down so it's a little closer. And we're going to peek at our script. And I was talking about the handyman with the toolbox. Now I would like it to be the same house and the tree, and then have our handyman and toolbox appear. So what we can do, we might even want to keep the purchase agreement. We'll see. We can go over here, Command A or Control A if you're on Windows, will select all of them. Okay, so I just selected all of my items. Now I'm going to do Command C, which will be Control C if you're on Windows, to copy them. Now, if I go over here to my blank scene and go Command V or Control V to paste them, everything just pasted in beautifully. So let's do a few things here. First thing I want to do is get rid of repairs, okay? That's trash, so I'm going to trash it. Now, since I've duplicated this scene, I don't want them to draw on again. So I'm going to go ahead and zero out the durations. And I also don't want a transition between the first incident of this and the second one. I don't want it to swipe because that would be, it would be dumb. So I'm going to go here on the first one, select scene settings, and choose exit animation none. That does affect the timing of the scene a little bit by half a second, and it's fine in this case. I think it's perfectly fine. Now, let's go get our handyman, and I said we were going to use Brad, so I'm going to type for Brad's name, and I have him here. So I could have him spackling a wall, I could have him doing all kinds of different things. He's got a toolbox somewhere. Why don't we start with him with his toolbox, because that's very obvious. No, I'm going to add to my scene. I'm not going to replace anything. So here comes Brad. Okay, he can draw on for 3 seconds. I think that'll be fine because that'll put the attention on him. But you'll see I need some additional time here. So what does it look like? 5 seconds or so? So what we want to do is go to Scene Settings and turn this into 5.5 or 6. Let's just go for 6 seconds. And that should be good. If you'd like to preview it, let's do it. Any repairs or improvements stipulated in the purchase agreement must be complete. Make sure everything works, and if not, fix it. And that's fine. I do think I want to keep the purchase agreement because we're still talking about it. We can go back and do a camera move and zoom in on the guy if we'd like. But again, I'm going to do that after I have all of my timings set. So our next scene is coming up here. Cleaning crew. So again, I'm going to want to duplicate that prior scene, I think, and add my Pamela, the cleaning crew lady. So what I can do is right click on it and choose duplicate. And that way I don't have to do the copy and paste. That's just another way of accomplishing the same thing. In this case, I don't need to worry about the transition because I don't believe this one had a transition. Oh, I do. Okay, so exit animation. So once again, let's turn that off. Click apply because we don't want it swiping. Most everything is already zeroed out except for Bradley, so we're going to zero him out. And now we're going to go search for Pamela. And she was doing some cleaning. That's with a paintbrush, but this one is more of a cleaning, and this one's pretty obvious for cleaning, as is this one. Though we don't want her cleaning the grass. But this might be nice right here. And then we're going to slide this over, the audio. We can shorten this gap here, so let's go ahead and do that. And then slide it over. Timing wise, it should be pretty close. I think we probably can shave a couple seconds off. So let's turn that to 4 seconds. And that's going to be fairly close. Let's make this one slightly longer at the end. Half a second, so let's make this 6.5 because we have the room. And that's going to be just right. So let's preview it. We recommend hiring a professional cleaning crew and having a handyman on standby for any last-minute repairs. Since I duplicated it, I did duplicate the subtitles here, so if you're going to keep the subtitles, we need to get the subtitle text, so let's change that. Then if you preview it, it'll match. We recommend hiring a professional cleaning crew and having a handyman on standby for any last-minute repairs. And that looks great. Okay, I'm going to stop for now because I have to go have lunch with my mother, and I will be back. Okay, so I'm back. I left for a couple of hours and I have now returned, and I'm ready to finalize the next scene. And I remembered that I had duplicated this scene, so I can go ahead and delete this one here, okay? Because we already did that. So now I want to do remove unwanted items. Okay, so remove any unwanted items in sheds, attic, etc., and deal with the trash. So we need to think about what we want to put to represent these items. Now let's look at our Word document. And I said clean house with the words remove unwanted items on it. So let's see. What can we do? We can keep that same house if we'd like. And maybe let's get rid of the purchase agreement. Probably we can get rid of the people too. So once again, I'm going to go ahead and select everything by clicking Command A or Control A, depending on your operating system. And then Command C or Control C to copy it. We're going to go into our new scene. We're going to get rid of this. And then Command V or Control V to paste. So now we have the identical scene. Most of them already have zeros. We're going to delete Camila and Bradley, so we can get rid of those. We can also get rid of the purchase agreement. So I've selected all of the things I want to delete, and I'm going to go ahead and delete them. So I now have my clean house. We're going to add a rectangle. So I'm going to go over to props, type in rectangle. And I really like these dashed rectangles. They come in the enterprise version. And I'm going to go ahead and place it. And I want it to pretty much fill the screen. Something like that. And then we're going to add our text. We'll use the same font. Guess I could have left that text that I deleted earlier. Oh well. And that looks kind of interesting. We'll move our audio over. And we know we're going to need to make this scene a little longer. Before I do, I want to adjust this drawing of this rectangle. Right now it's set at the default of 3 seconds. That's going to be way too long. So I'm changing that to 1. And then I'm going to go ahead and shrink this up a little. Move that down here. I think I'm going to have a slight delay before this rectangle comes on. 1 second delay for the rectangle. And then it looks like we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seconds at the tail end here of our scene. And that's looking pretty good. So now we want to consider how we're transitioning from this scene here to this scene here. Let's do an erase effect where we're going to erase these items to reveal just the house below it. So what we want to do, we're back in this scene. We want to click on our items, click the gear icon, and here under exit animation, we're going to say erase. And we don't need it to erase for 3 seconds, like 1.5 seconds should be fine. And I'm going to do the same with her. Erase. 1.5 seconds. And then the same with this. Erase. 1.5 seconds. And then purchase agreement also. Erase. And it's a short little thing. He doesn't need to spend a lot of time erasing it, so we'll just say 5 seconds. I mean, 1/2 second. Now we may still need to do a little fiddling with that. And you'll see that it affected the timing here because as I'm adding all these seconds to erase, it's extended the scene. So we'll need to change the scene settings yet again. But let's see how it looks. I think I need to do something else before we do that. So let's just take a quick look. We recommend hiring a professional cleaning crew and having a handyman on standby for any last-minute repairs. Okay, so that's not quite what I want. You know, you saw it erase, and then it drew it on, then it erased them right away. So I need to do some adjustments. First, I want to make sure over here in settings that we turn off smart mode. Okay, I want the erase mode totally off. So when the hand goes to draw these people on, it doesn't erase first. And then when the time comes for them to exit the scene, I want to control that. I don't want it to just happen randomly. So let's take a look at it one more time. We recommend hiring a professional cleaning crew and having a handyman on standby for any last-minute repairs. Remove any unwanted items in shed. Okay, so I don't like how that erased them so soon. So what I want to do, and this is a little trick, take a font, any font you want, Go over here and just type in a period. Now go to the gear icon and turn the opacity to 0. I mean, it's going to make this period completely invisible, so you can no longer see it. And now I want to turn the duration to 0 because we don't want the hand coming up here and drawing an invisible period. So now what I can do is I can set a delay on this period for a good couple seconds. And what happens is now we've got a 3-second gap before the hand starts erasing everything. I am going to make the erasing go faster. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the erase animation, make it even shorter. Let's say 1 second. We'll do the same for her. And for the document as well. And let's take a preview. Cleaning crew and having a handyman on standby for any last-minute repairs. Remove any unwanted items in sheds. Okay, so we're getting closer. I don't think I need a 3-second delay for that, maybe 2.5. And then let's move our audio down. It gives it time for the erasing to happen. And remember, we'll probably have some music to fill this in, so while that erasing is happening, that should be fine. And then let's go to our extra time at the end. We don't need 4 seconds anymore because we've added all that time that takes to erase. So let's go back to the default of 1/2 second. And that's going to be much nicer. So now we're going to move the audio back. Now that we have the timing, let's take a look one more time and see how that kind of plays out. So I'm going to go to preview and I'm going to jump ahead. Last minute repairs. So it erases, we're back to the house. Remove any unwanted items in sheds, the attic, basement, garage, and other areas. And that is fine. I kind of think I need to erase this even faster because there's that big blank area, you know, while these are going on. So it needs to be a lot faster on erasing these items. So let me go back and we'll make it 1/2 second. Let's just see how it looks. You just have to play with it sometimes. And then we'll move this back. Preview. And having a handyman on standby for any last-minute repairs. Remove any unwanted items in sheds, the attic, basement. I think that's better. You know, there is a little bit of a gap there, but it's okay. I'm going to move this audio down just a touch to the right. That way it gives time for this rectangle to get drawn before I start speaking. So let's take a quick preview. Remove any unwanted items in sheds, that's the attic, so that's much better. Now let's go to our last scene here, and that's our call to action scene. So this we'll want to just tighten up a bit, and then likewise this can be tightened, and then we just bring it in. So I had started this, and now let's go ahead and put our phone number in here. Okay, so I've got my large phone number and my call to action, and maybe we want a logo, and we want that same original real estate agent that we had. I believe her name was Agatha. So let's go back to characters and type in Agatha, and we wanted one of her in the business suit. This looks nice and serious, so let's try that one. Okay, and I have this logo here for Jane Martin's Acme Real Estate. It's just another logo I had made for a dummy company. So I'm going to go ahead and use that. And I'm going to go ahead and change my company name here. There we go. Sometimes you have to move things just to get it. So instead of calling it Pamela's Real Estate Agency, we're going to call it okay, I don't like her here with that. It doesn't go. So I'm going to copy her and delete her for now. I'm using the grid to help center everything. Oops. And I'm going to preview it. I'm not sure how I have the logo drawing on. I don't know if I did. Any questions about getting your home move-in ready? We can help. Okay, so I never did create drawing paths for this particular logo, and I'm not going to do that right now. What I'd rather do is click the pencil icon and right here under reveal mode, I'm going to choose fade. So it's just going to fade in real nicely. Save and return. And then I want to add some time to the end here because once I'm done talking and give the phone number, I want this to stay on for a while so people can write it down. So I'm going to go to scene settings and I'm going to give it a little bit more time. Say 10 seconds. And that looks pretty good. Let's preview it. Any questions about getting your home move-in ready? We can help. Give us a call at 555-1212. So let's give a delay here of about 4 seconds before the phone number comes in. Any questions about getting your home move-in ready? We can help. Give us a call at 555-1212. Okay, let's make that a 3-second delay. Try one more time. Preview. Any questions about getting your home move-in ready? We can help. Give us a call at 555-1212. And that looks good. I'm going to make the hand draw the phone number a little slower. This should be our final preview of this scene. Any questions about getting your home move-in ready? We can help. Give us a call at 555-1212. And that looks great. So the only thing we have left is to choose some music. So we'll go over here to the Musics tab. And here you're just going to have to start listening to tracks until you find something that strikes your fancy. I'm going to go ahead and choose music. And then that way I'm only looking at music. I don't have any sound effects to make things different, okay, to confuse me. So maybe something like this with home in the title. Maybe that's nice and homey for a real estate video. Who knows? We only know when we listen. And I'm thinking no. So go ahead and listen on your own. I'm going to go and pause the video and listen to a few of these until I find one that I like. Okay, so I've found a track that'll work just fine. It's called In the Wind. Now I'm going to go to the very beginning of the video and you see the music track here. All I'm going to do is just drag that down and drop it into place. Now you can just see by looking at it that this music is super loud. It's going to drown out my voice big time. So what I want to do is click this speaker icon and I'm going to turn it way, way down. I'm even going to go down probably 15%, okay? And we're going to take a listen and see how it sounds. The final walkthrough is when buyers walk through the home to make sure it is in the agreed upon condition before closing the deal. As a seller, allow plenty of time to ensure the home is completely empty, except for any fixtures or items that the buyer negotiated in the purchase agreement. It should also be thoroughly cleaned and in move-in. I feel it's still a little bit loud, so I'm going to turn it down even more. 6%. I'm going to click preview. The final walkthrough is when buyers walk through the home to make sure it is in the agreed upon condition before closing the deal. And I like that better. Now, I'm going to go ahead and tighten this up so that the music starts before my voice does, okay? So now it's coming in, and then I'll start talking. And then here at the end, you'll see that the music goes way, 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 way longer. Now, you have a choice. Sometimes the music has a nice little stinger at the end, and it's nice to end on that. So I think I would rather have it end with the actual end of the song. So I'm going to do something a little different here. I'm going to start at the beginning, and I'm just going to chop this song in half and drag it so that when I scroll over here to the end, oh wow, that was a pretty good guess. The video ends with the music, and that was a great guess, so I like that. But now we're going to have the music starting, you know, just without fading in. So what we want to do is right click and choose fade in. And then you can just have a nice slow fade in here. You know, you can do it however you want. I think this probably should be fine. Let's listen. The final walkthrough is when buyers walk through the home to make sure it is in the agreed upon condition before closing the deal. We can help. Give us a call at 555-1212. I think I maybe have it a little long on the ending. So I am going to just trim it a little bit. That was too much. So let's make it 6 seconds. And then we'll trim here at the beginning with this music. Like so. A little bit more. And that's fine. And then this preview, we'll just jump to the final walkthrough is when buyers walk at 555-1212. There, and that's nice. I like that. And I'm just going to slide that over a little because it looks off center. So finally, I'm happy with that. I'm going to hit export. Choose 1080p for my resolution. Gonna change my destination folder to the desired one. We're in week 9, so I'll do week 9. Continue. And once this is done, we'll watch the final video. The final walkthrough is when buyers walk through the home to make sure it is in the agreed upon condition before closing the deal. As a seller, allow plenty of time to ensure the home is completely empty, except for any fixtures or items that the buyer negotiated in the purchase agreement. It should also be thoroughly cleaned and in move-in condition. Any repairs or improvements stipulated in the purchase agreement must be complete. Make sure everything works, and if not, fix it. We recommend hiring a professional cleaning crew and having a handyman on standby for any last-minute repairs. Remove any unwanted items in sheds, the attic, basement, garage, and other areas, and make sure the trash has been picked up before the walkthrough. Any questions about getting your home move-in ready? We can help. Give us a call at 555-1212. I hope you enjoyed looking over my shoulder as we created this video today. Thanks for watching.